and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan and it's time to find out what our 100 experts are doing in Game Week 31. Yes, we're going to be finding out all of the top transfer trends, chip usage, and who are the captain options for this game week, all in this video, as well as a bonus question at the end. So guys, if you do enjoy this one, drop a like, do subscribe if you're new around here. Let's meet our experts. So thank you very much for our 100 FPL experts, pundits, and content creators that helped us out with their data this week. I know it's a very quick turnaround between Game Week 30 and 31, so I really do appreciate these guys giving their answers in good time, and we're going to see exactly what they are doing this week. In general, 35% of our managers are making one transfer this week, 24% are making two transfers this week. We've actually got 5% making three transfers this week, so wholesale changes to the squads, with 11% also using their wild card. This is kind of interesting because the last game week we saw around, I think, 18 or 19% using the wild card, so the numbers are slightly down on the wild carders from last game week, but I think this will probably be one of the final big game weeks for the wild card. I think the next big game week for a wild card will probably be game week 35, maybe 36 as well, but this is probably a big opportunity to wild card, set your team up for the final games of the season. And we've got 25% of our managers not making a transfer this week, which I guess kind of tracks with the wild carders last week, a lot of them looking to roll their transfer this week, so not actually needing to make a transfer. But aside from that, the wildcarders and the recent wildcarders, it seems like there's quite a lot of people making a large amount of transfers. This is not really a week to just make one transfer. It might actually be a week to make multiple transfer, but let's see who the big players that we need to get in this week are. First of all, looking at the general trends. So around the world of FPL, the most popular Game Week 31 transfers in terms of the entire FPL player base, well, we're seeing Isak and Salah dominating this list with over 200,000 transfers in for each of them. Coming up behind them, Palmer, Darwin, Ben White, Muniz. These are some other players that seem to be getting a little bit of interest there as well. But in general, it seems to be Isak and Salah being the two hype picks. Salah on his big return with a goal last game week, could have potentially got more in that game, and Isak with those two goals. Penalties often do inflate the hype, I guess, of certain FPL players. But yeah, a lot of managers definitely looking to bring him in. In terms of whether this tracks with what our experts are thinking, well, to a degree, yes. Isak, Salah, Palmer, and Darwin all seeing significant interest among our experts as well. We often see that the players at the top in the general list also are usually favoured by our experts as well. But there is one more player here, Ait-Nouri at the bottom there. Our experts also like the look of him. Everyone in between Darwin and Ait-Nouri, however, not so much interest. In fact, White, Solanke, Luis Diaz, and Son are seeing no interest whatsoever. No one's going for Ben White, which I found quite interesting. I thought we might see the odd transfer in for an additional Arsenal defender, but it hasn't seemed to happen among our experts this week. Solanke, I think anyone who already wants him will already have him, and maybe our experts looking elsewhere for forwards if they don't already have Solanke. Luis Diaz, no interest in him, and Son is actually being sold by a few of our experts this game week, which is kind of interesting. I think Son is another one of those players that if you want him, you should already have him. If you don't already have him, then maybe we can look elsewhere for some various other options. So those are your most popular Game Week 31 transfers in the world. Let's have a closer look to see what our experts are doing, starting off with who they are selling. So Ollie Watkins has an insane 48 transfers out among our 64 transfer making experts this game week. That is enormous. It is huge, and including the wildcarders as well, we're going to see well over half of our managers actually moving Watkins out. And considering a lot of our experts didn't have Watkins already, we might see Game Week 31 be a game week where only a few top managers will have Watkins in their team. He is going to be a player that hardly anyone owns, so maybe a bit of a differential, but at the same time potentially injured after that half-time withdrawal in Game Week 30, and he plays against Man City away from home anyway, and Arsenal in 33 as well. So a tough run of fixtures for Watkins, and maybe a player that we need to think about removing. He is by far the standout transfer out for this game week. After that, we are seeing Maddison and Son, the two Spurs midfielders, being transferred out as well. I think the fact that Spurs don't have a fixture in game week 34 is going to be a little impact on that and why people are starting to remove some of those Spurs assets and maybe to fund some other midfield moves as well. Few transfers out for the likes of Foden and Douglas Luiz, and other than that, it's a whole bunch of random players that people have in their teams and are looking to remove them from their FPL team. So yes, Watkins is the big transfer out this game week, followed by Maddison and Son. Outside of that, you know, there really is no real strong trends towards selling any particular player, so you might need to play it by ear depending on what kind of players you have in your squad. In terms of transfers in, Darwin is the big hype player, followed by Erling Haaland. But yes, Darwin against Sheffield United, a lot of people are backing him to start this game, and if he does, this could be a real opportunity for some FPL points, knowing that Sheffield United do tend to concede the odd goal, particularly from central strikers, which Darwin is, of course. He was withdrawn after 80 minutes in game week 30, not through any injury, but just to give him maybe that 10 minutes rest, which will probably increase the likelihood of him starting in game week 31, which is very nice indeed. Definitely our number one target for this game week. But Erling Haaland and Mo Salah, both with 15 transfers in among our experts. I think a lot of our experts looking to bring in that additional premium player into their team. Maybe they already have Son, maybe they already have one of Haaland or Salah and are trying to get the other guy in their team as well. So 15 transfers each for them. If you don't have both Haaland and Salah, this might be the game week to get these players in and secured into your team. Of course, Salah was the most transferred in player last game week. Salah, again, this game week, one of the biggest players to transfer in again if you didn't manage to get him in last week. Outside of that, Isak, I think, is a really interesting transfer, and we're going to talk a little bit more about which striker you need to be getting into your team depending on your chip strategy, because that is a big impact. And outside of that, Aït-Nouri, Havertz, Mateta, Palmer, and Saka all seeing a little bit of hype around them as well. Garnacho, Branthwaite, and Sarabia, interesting pick there, completing our list of players to sort of bring in this game week. So yeah, it's Darwin week, guys. Maybe Haaland or Salah if you don't have those guys already. So a lot of people might need to make multiple transfers in order to fund a big move, but Watkins to Haaland seems very obvious if you don't have him in your squad already. But I want to talk about Darwin and Isak, because depending on your chip strategy is going to kind of define which of these two players you go for. So for example, if you are free hitting in game week 34, you're going to be able to get that triple up on Liverpool for their double game week in 34 anyway, so you might not necessarily need to get Darwin in, and you might prefer to actually bring in Isak now for his good fixtures coming up, as well as Isak's double game week in 37. So Isak is a transfer for those planning way out ahead with that free hit in 34 covering them for that game week. However, if you are not free hitting in game week 34, maybe you're planning a wild card in game week 35, then you don't maybe need to worry about Isak as much at this moment, because Isak's double game week is way out in game week 37. However, you do need to secure those Liverpool and Arsenal players, in fairness, ready for game week 34, in which case you're not free hitting in 34, you need to get another Liverpool player in. Darwin is a real obvious player to bring in with this Sheffield United fixture going in. Watkins to Darwin seems obvious if you are not free hitting in 34. Watkins to Isak seems very obvious if you are free hitting in 34. And outside of that, Watkins to Haaland seems very obvious if you don't have Haaland in your team, because we know what a strong FPL asset he truly is. Outside of that, we do need to be looking at Salah, and I think most people will be looking to fund that move by selling Maddison or Son. It is going to be difficult to try and afford that, and I know a lot of people will have to make multiple transfer moves, potentially by selling Watkins down to a Darwin or an Isak. That might actually free up enough money to make the big jump between a Maddison and a Salah. You may have to do it with Son to Salah instead, but I think people would prefer to not sell Son if possible. Remember, guys, he is pretty much 90-95% owned among our experts, and only around 10% are removing Son this week. So he is not a big sell necessarily. He is a kind of last resort sell, I guess, if you need to get Salah in, because we probably would all agree that Salah is more of an important player to have in your FPL team right now than Son, particularly, again, if you are not free hitting in game week 34. So you may have to pull the trigger on that move. Not so many people are looking to sell Saka or Foden for a Salah, but a few people are. It really is mainly about those Spurs players being removed for Salah. But yeah, just a fair warning. It's not like Spurs have bad fixes or anything like that. I don't think this is an essential move, but of course you would like to have Salah in your team, and this might be the way of you doing that. Certainly the way our experts are looking to do this move. And I put Doughty to Aït-Nouri as well. Aït-Nouri is the most popular defender to bring in among our experts this game week, but we could go other ways. You know, if you've got Doughty, obviously he's a nice sell for Aït-Nouri, but Lascelles has been ruled out for the rest of the season. Maybe you could remove him. I don't know if anyone has Botman, for example, another injured player that could make way for Aït-Nouri. There's probably a few other names that I'm missing. Ake injured as well. Maybe him to Aït-Nouri. Any other defender you have in your squad right now that you're maybe not super happy with, move them on to Aït-Nouri, particularly if you can make a downgrade here and downgrade a more expensive defender down to the Wolves man, then again freeing up a little bit more budget in order to make that Salah or Haaland move without maybe sacrificing some of the other big guys. For captaincy, I think we might have a new 100 experts series record because we've got a 96% captain pick for game week 31. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've ever seen this before. I know we've seen 95% before. We may have seen 96% maybe once before. We certainly have never seen 97%. So this is a huge trend, the biggest captaincy trend we've ever seen on this channel, on this series. We are witnessing history right now as 96% of our experts are going to be captaining Mo Salah against Sheffield United at home. Crazy, crazy stuff. There are some, I guess, 1%ers, differentials outside of that. Darwin, Haaland, Saka, and Son. But again, the fact that no one can even agree on the right differential outside of Salah with 1% on each of them really does suggest that there is only one captain option for us to go for this game week. Mo Salah is back. Those of you who watched the game against Brighton will know that Mo Salah could have easily got a 20-pointer in that game week. Now imagine what he can do against Sheffield United at his home ground at Anfield. It could be enormous. So no doubt about it, guys. If you're wondering who to captain, don't even think about this week. This is not the week to go differential. This is the week to go all in on Mo Salah. Buy him for your team, captain him for your team. Let's go and see what he can do. And for our bonus question today, I asked our experts, how many hits will you be taking this game week in game week 31? I wasn't really sure what bonus question to ask this game week, guys. And if you do have any suggestions for bonus questions we can ask in game week 32, do feel free to leave them in the comments. We've only recently added this bonus question section to the video. Hope you guys are enjoying it. You seem to be enjoying it quite a lot. But if you've got anything that you would personally like to ask the expert for next game week, do let me know. We'll see if we can include that in next week's episode up until game week 32. But right now we're talking about hits. Now, how many hits will our experts take this game week? And the answer is around 25%. Well, exactly 25% of our experts will be taking a hit this game week, with 75% not making any hits this game week. So 23 of our experts are just using one hit this week, taking a -4, and 2 of our experts are taking -8s actually. So we're looking at an average of 0.27 hits per expert manager, or a total hit of -1.08 points you know, on average per expert, which is quite interesting. Excluding wildcards, that changes the numbers ever so slightly, increases up to 0.28 hits per manager and -1.12 total hits points reduction, I guess, per manager. So is it a big week for hits? I would say at 25% of our experts taking hits, I say it is quite a big week for hits, because typically we probably will see around 10 to 15% of experts taking hits. This is a week where I think you could feel a little bit more comfortable taking that hit. But again, remember guys, you are still in the minority if you are taking hits this week. Yes, there are a decent amount of experts doing it, but that doesn't mean you have to. I think a big issue this week is that we do have some injury concerns for many people, many defenders in particular getting injured. Goalkeepers like Areola getting injured this week as well, are seeing a few people feeling the need to take the hits. Those looking to buy Salah but don't maybe have the budget in order to do that, haven't planned to save the money to make that Salah move, for example, will again maybe be taking a hit, downgrading one of their other players in order to make that upgrade from a midfielder to Salah, particularly if you can avoid removing Heung-min Son from your team, I think you're going to be in a very, very good position. And if it takes a hit to do that, then those are the kind of scenarios I think our experts seem to be mostly taking those hits. But yeah, hopefully that is interesting and helpful information. Please let me know if it is, if you like this kind of question or you would like to do something slightly different. Always open to suggestions on this series to try and get it to be the best content we can possibly bring to you. And if you enjoyed this one, make sure you do drop a like on today's video. Do subscribe if you are new around here as well. We are closing in on the next milestone of 197,000 subscribers. Let's see how quickly we can do that. Of course, if you want to check out another video, we uploaded Buy Sell Keep Avoid yesterday, so do go check that one out. And we will be uploading our team selection video tomorrow, and then we'll do a stream, of course, for the deadline. But aside from that, thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye bye.